Hello, everyone. How are you doing? I hope you're well. Listen, let's talk about all things blockchain. And I want to welcome you to another episode of The Block. I am Dr. Tammy. I am one of your hosts, and I am the host for today. But y'all have seen in previous episodes my co host, Doc Vince. Doc Vince is hanging out behind the scenes today, but I do want to shout him out and thank him for helping make all this possible. Thank you, Doc Vince. So, we want to talk about all things blockchain, but the one thing that I want to make sure you understand is that we also talk about other emerging technologies. And just by me saying those few words, you probably have a few in your head already because we're hearing them everywhere. And so today's topic is going to touch on that a little bit because we want to talk about those things about how you can learn more about blockchain technology, the use cases, and how it's relevant to your life, how it applies to you and what you plan to do, where you're going, all of those things. And so the conversations we have here on the block are about that. We like to talk about those things to make you, encourage you. I use that intentionally to make, but let me be nice. Encourage you to learn more, to find out more, to follow us. And so if you haven't checked out previous episodes, go through our YouTube channel and you can find previous episodes of the block and you can hear from experts from around the world talking about anything from DAOs to legal issues, all these things. And today we're going to have a conversation about this convergence of blockchain and AI. Let's have this conversation about how are these two technologies connected, or are they? Let's talk about that. And so who we've invited today, we have our special guest. We have Professor Avani Patel, and she's going to share with us a little bit about what she's doing. Because one thing I know she's doing, Professor Patel will be teaching a course on this exact topic about blockchain and AI, or artificial intelligence. Let me say the whole word, artificial intelligence. And it's an emerging field, right? And so we want to hear more about that, how it's shaping the future of technology and the different industries it's impacting, whether it's healthcare, education, any of the industries that you may even be attached to. How is it going to play out? What do we see for the future? And so she is doing this course in collaboration with Professor Boncallis, who I like to call Professor Armando, ensuring this comprehensive and cutting edge curriculum that they're going to be creating. And so we'll talk about the course as well. So I'd like to take a moment and bring in Professor Patel. Welcome. Welcome to the block.
Hello, everyone. Thank you so much, Dr. Tammy. It's such a pleasure to be on this session.
Yeah, thank you so much for being here and taking time out of your day.
Of course.
And so, I just talked a little bit about what I know about the connection between what we do and what you do. But could you just tell us a little bit more about who you are, what you do,
Of course.
and maybe even particularly in this blockchain space, like if there's other things that you do besides educate and teach others about it?
Yeah, of course. So my name is Avani Patel. My background is technology and software development. I've been in this IT industry for over 18 years. I'm currently working as the CTO and co-founder of an AI-based company. It's called Riden Solutions. We're building a product for medtech industry that's going to solve issues related to compliance and audits. Prior to this, I worked in the blockchain space for a couple of years. I worked on many well-known projects, worked with clients across the globe, advising them on blockchain based solution and integrating blockchain into their existing business case. Before that, I worked in the enterprise world for, I would say, almost 15 years. I led the development of many mission critical complex system. My journey with ALTHSH University, I would say, started 2 years ago when I met Professor Amando at one of the meetups here in Chicago. At that time, he was looking for volunteers, someone who knows blockchain and someone who can teach about blockchain. At that time, I didn't have the bandwidth, but last year, thankfully, I had the bandwidth. So I decided to join the team. So I'm currently working as one of the associate professors. And so far, it has been an exciting experience, and I'm looking forward to continue this journey.
Oh, that's awesome. I didn't know the connection. So that's interesting that you explained that. So thank you so much. So let's just hop right into it. So because I'm really curious to your thoughts because just hearing what you do with
Yes,
writing and doing some other things, I'm just really
yes,
curious as to this convergence, right?
of
So
course.
what could you please explain the convergence between blockchain technology and artificial intelligence? Or maybe how would you define it or describe it for our audience?
Of course. So I would say they both are extremely powerful technologies, right? I think blockchain has limited use cases, but those use cases are extremely powerful. They can solve real world problems in finance and many, many other industry. AI, I'm pretty sure, has many, many use cases, from, using it in the enterprise applications to even for users like you and me who may be using ChatGPT on a daily basis. That being said, I think there are many many companies they're exploring ways that they can leverage both technologies together. So as far as the kind of like a difference between the two and the kind of like core components that both technologies have, I would say AI is all about data, right? So it learns from data, it finds pattern, makes prediction, and even generates content, right? Like what you see when you use a ChatGPT, which uses LLM. Blockchain, on the other hand, I would say is built on security and transparency, right? So it uses an open, immutable ledger, right, where transactions are recorded permanently, and each blockchain network is protected by strong cryptographic algorithm, right? So this is really just a high level, how both of these technologies are kind of different. They have their its own components. They both have limitations as well, and me personally, since I've worked in both of this field, I would say, there are limitations. For example, for AI, right? I mean, as I mentioned, AI is all about data. It does need high quality data. And most of the time, you don't see the kind of transparencies, when you're working with the AI systems. So that is, I would say, like one of the limitations. Of course, many, many groups are working on solving that issue. Blockchain, on the other hand, I would say, it's more secure, but it can be slower, right? So it makes the real world applications more challenging. Yeah, so I mean, overall, I would say, I mean, this both technologies are doing a lot of innovative work in many, many industries, and both of these tech are here to stay.
So thank you for that.
Of
But
course.
so I guess when I because that's exactly what I see. I see one like AI has an issue with you know with privacy and some of those things, but
Yes.
then I mean, but blockchain can is more secure, and so I see
Yes.
them really complementing each other. So
Absolutely.
are there any components or any key components that you would highlight between AI and blockchain that you haven't mentioned already, or anything that really will impact like their applications?
I would say the impact is really gonna be right. I mean, every technology, any technology you take, there's always gonna be some limitations. But I think what I would really want to highlight is the kind of the strength, that each and
Mm,
both the blockchain and AI has. So I would say I think there are many companies that are using both AI and blockchain in a way that they're just trying to get the best of both the world and trying to combine both of this tech and creating some innovative solution, right, that is I think solving some real world problems.
yeah. And I know you've talked a little bit about the security aspect and how it improves the security. So is there anything you want to add as far as like the automation or efficiency as it relates to like different industries, whether it's finance, healthcare, or logistics or anything?
Of course. So I think when you put AI and blockchain together, you get something extremely powerful, right? You can pretty much think of it as like smart decisions are backed by trust when you combine the both. So I would say for security, blockchain can log AI's insights in place, so that can prevent the kind of tampering, right? So because the blockchain can preserve the records, and so no tampering would be allowed on that. So, as an example, in banking, I would say AI can catch the fraud, any transaction that might be related to fraud. And then blockchain in the same case can keep the record secure. So together, I think, it can solve, that combined problem, for banking industry. As far as the automation go, I would say AI powered smart contract, right? So this is something people didn't hear about, 4 years ago, but now, as the AI is widely being adopted, this is something, one of the areas where people are diving deeper into figuring out if we can create smart contracts that are powered by AI. So what it really means is, smart contract in theory, they need some sort of trigger, right? And then, once you call those smart contract, they can execute a specific task. And when you bring AI into this mixture, right, you could actually add the intelligence, meaning, you may not need any human intervention, and depending on the what kind of use case it is, it can automatically trigger. So as an example, for insurance, right, this is once again, I think people are exploring in this specific industry, right? A claim can get processed without any kind of human approval, and
Mhm.
it can cut weeks and months of delay that you otherwise see in any kind of insurance claim processing. For efficiency, what I would say is AI makes quick decisions. I think this is something we all know, right? And blockchain can keep the data safe and accessible, right? So I can think of like a healthcare industry, right, where AI can predict patients' need, right? And then blockchain, on the other hand, can ensure that medical records are always accurate. So these are, I think, in some of the areas where I think, security, automation, and efficiency is something one would gain if they are trying to explore a solution using blockchain and AI.
So I know the one thing that I am thinking about, that I realized that I hadn't really thought about this topic. So I'm really excited that we're having this conversation,
Of
because
course.
I'm in education. I don't know if you know that, like my trade is education.
Yes.
Like I've been an educator for over 24 years in the
Amazing.
K-12 system, the traditional education system. And
Amazing.
so I was thinking about, maybe that's something I need to research, is how now AI, I know how blockchain is used in education because that's kind of been kind of
Yes.
my interest in all of
Mhm.
this. But
Mhm.
now, like, how are we using AI? Because most of that is dealing with student data, right? And
Yes.
student
Yes.
records, or there's credentialing and things like that
Yes.
of a
Yes.
blockchain. But now, like, what does this look like now that AI, and knowing that it's always been used, like it's AI is not anything new, but
Yes.
I think we're looking at innovative ways of using it
Absolutely.
in spaces that we didn't before. And so
Absolutely.
when you're talking about healthcare, I was just thinking about, you talking about the patient's data. I was thinking, man, like now I need to really see, like, what are we really doing? Like, because I'm sure it's different based on, institutions and what they've chosen to
Yeah.
use and the software that they're using to for their CRM that they're decided to use and all those things. And so I'm just really like, oh, I need to do a little research myself. So thank you for
Of course. Of course.
for
I
that
think
silent encouragement.
absolutely. I think not just you. I think this is true for everyone. Now, so blockchain, I think with the blockchain, that was the case anyway. You have to keep up with all
Yeah.
the changes, that were happening and that are still happening. I think now, as AI has come into this mixture, things are even more challenging, right? I mean, people are developing solutions overnight. So I think I'm in the same boat as you in
Yeah.
terms of, continue to do the research in all the development that's happening in both of this space.
Yeah, because I think I always research in isolation, like AI in education or
Yes,
blockchain in education, but to think about them, layering those searches on, like adding some of the emerging technologies that are there. And so that makes me think about, also when I think about data, you talking about healthcare and patients data and all of
mhm,
these things, I start thinking about, oh my goodness, like people can misuse this
yes,
information. We have people programming, those smart contracts. We have people, currently, like, yes, AI may be able to do it, but right now, the majority, before we make that shift and that, this mass adoption, people are doing it. We have developers and things. So I start thinking about the ethical concerns, right? Or
mhm,
the challenges that are there. So what are the major ethical or technical challenges around AI blockchain systems? Particularly like when it comes to privacy and
of course,
data governance. And I always say, I know, the question I have, it says algorithmic bias, but I think about justice, right? So even
of
that,
course,
like what does that look like? Like, what are some of those things that we need to start, looking into, learning about, researching more, as
of course.
opposed to that, or paying attention to it, just aware that these are potentials or these are current, even maybe current, right?
Absolutely. Yeah, no, this is a great question, and I totally agree with you that this is an ongoing concern, or at least an ongoing discussion that people are having, trying to figure out how we can solve this kind of issue. So I would say yes, AI and blockchain, they are powerful together, but they do bring challenges, and I think these are the kind of challenges that we can absolutely not ignore. So as far as the data privacy and security go, I would say blockchain is immutable, right? What it means is, data stored on blockchain cannot be changed or deleted. On the other hand, AI requires a large data set, which may include some sensitive personal information as well. So when you combine these two technology in your kind of solution, right, the ethical risks that you may be creating would be, once personal data or medical data is on the blockchain, it cannot be erased. So this would potentially violate, data privacy laws. I mean, depending on which country, the solution is being used. At So that's, I think, just one example. I think, but there are many, many other example related to data privacy and security. As far as the bias and fairness go, I would say AI models, right? I mean, they're mostly trained on historical data. And then this historical data may have biases. So what happens is, if this biased data is permanently stored on a blockchain, now you have even bigger issue, right? Now this data cannot be changed. And so here, I think the ethical risk would be, this AI decisions, right, could become
Mhm.
almost irreversible due
Mhm.
to blockchain's immutable nature. So I think that's where, anytime when you are considering, solution around this, you may absolutely want to think about, all the kind of safeguards. For transparency and confidentiality, I would say blockchain, of course, provides transparency. It makes the data visible to multiple parties, right?
Yeah.
AI, on the other hand, often works as a black box. You don't know what's happening behind the scenes. So you know that AI is making decisions for you, but many times those decisions are not explainable.
Right.
So the ethical risk in this case, I would say, is, for organizations, they may not be able to justify
Mhm.
AI decisions if the logic is unclear but permanently recorded on blockchain.
Mm,
So, I mean, these are some of the challenges that I've seen, that people are trying to figure out, how to solve this problem. At the same time, I would say, I mean, these issues do not mean that we don't use these technologies, right? I think what it really means that we need better policies and we
mm,
need better, some kind of like better safeguards anytime when we are designing solutions using blockchain and AI.
ooh, I love that. Yeah. Oh, that's a whole nother conversation. We'll probably have to bring you back for part two because I want to talk about, this idea of regulations and things. But I know I want to talk about though what are, in light of everything that we've talked about today. We've talked about what it is. We've talked about maybe some use cases and some real world uses and how it may be used and how they work together, and maybe even some concerns. So when we're talking about the future, what are some of the trends you see or opportunities around AI and blockchain, this integration going forward? And what could that impact mean or be, right?
I think future is bright. That being said, I think there are a couple of examples or at least exploration that I can think of that people are doing in this space. So one of the use case that I can think about is, decentralized AI, right? Which is like completely opposite to what it is right now. So what it really means is AI models, right? They're run on blockchain network instead of centralized servers, and then I think there are already some companies, they're providing, they're creating solutions around this idea. They're building like decentralized marketplace that is backed by AI. So that's one of the use case or example that I can think of, that is currently in the exploration stage. But I think in the future we may see more and more of this kind of examples or use cases. There's also AI verified digital identity, right? So blockchain, has been tied to, using blockchain for digital identity, right? So now when you bring AI into the mixture, I think it can pretty much create a powerful solution, right? So what it means is AI can analyze blockchain based identity, and then overall this would be an extremely secure system, and this is something I would say even like well-known companies like Microsoft, they are looking into possible solutions where they could use a blockchain based digital identity. At the same time, they're using AI to make it even more secure, even more efficient.
Mm,
Another one that I can think about is sustainable AI and blockchain, right? So we know that AI optimizes, AI can optimize blockchain energy usage, and then it can improve the efficiency, which once again, I think, there are some organization, they are looking into creating a solution like AI driven blockchain energy management as an example. So I think in the future we are gonna see more and more use cases where the blockchain space and the AI space can intersect and can provide extremely powerful solutions.
ooh. Sounds promising. So I have my homework. So I now have my homework, which means let's talk about homework as it relates to the course. Let's move into
Of
the
course.
course and talking a little bit about the course. I know it's still under construction. I know y'all are still in the development phase. So I do want to talk about that. But I must first say thank you to HTML Coin for being a major sponsor of this initiative and reinforcing its significance and the impact in advancing education in this space, in the blockchain space. And so I just wanted to give a good shout out real quick. But let's talk about the course and what you are creating. So, first of all, how do you see this course? We're talking about the future. We're talking about all these cool things and what it could mean and just the concepts alone. So what how do you envision this course preparing students for the opportunities that we just talked about, these
Of
opportunities
course.
in blockchain and AI?
Of course. So, this course will prepare students for real opportunities in AI and blockchain space. And we're going to do that by giving them both the foundational knowledge as well as some hands on experience. So, if you compare the job market today with the job market we had 10, 15 years ago, you will see a significant shift in the kind of jobs that are available and the kind of skill set that is required. So, this the ultimate goal for this course would be to help students, develop their own career journey by giving them exposure to AI and blockchain both. I would say, as far as the course structure go, we would start with understanding and explaining the technologies, right? So covering all the fundamentals about both the AI and blockchain. So on the blockchain side, right, giving them a really good overview and study material around how blockchain secures decentralized networks. On the AI side, what are the AI models? What is generative AI? What are people doing in the space of large language models? How do they even work in the nutshell? Then after that, we'll help students develop some critical thinking skills. So anytime when you are in the tech space, right, it's a critical skill that you need to have, which is anytime when you come across any kind of real world solution, you should be able to understand and answer, hey, why and how a specific technology has been used for solving that problem. So that is a very specific skill that I think through this course we would like to help students develop that kind of skill so that when they're out in the real world, right, and then when they have to make any kind of tech specific decisions, they can figure out, hey, does it make sense to use AI in this case? Does it make sense to use blockchain in this case? Does it make sense to use both, or should they not use any of this because the problem cannot be solved with this technology? So that I think is an extremely important skill, and this course will give them exposure to developing that skill. And ultimately, I would say students are going to gain some hands-on experience through some real projects and case studies. So overall, I would say this course isn't just a theory. It is about helping students gain the knowledge on pretty much at the deeper level, and it is about applying what they can learn to real world challenges.
Oh, I love that. And I particularly picked up on something that I am biased about, talking about
Right.
biases, and that is maintaining the integrity of the technology.
Yes.
And I love that you mentioned that, you know, in there they'll know when to use AI,
Yes.
when to use blockchain, and when to
Yes.
use both. I remember that was kind of my thing when I first got into the blockchain space, was
Hmm.
like, let's maintain the integrity of technology.
Of course. Of course. Couldn't agree more.
Yeah. So I guess
Absolutely.
so. My last question is, because I'm just excited about some of the things that you will be doing and teaching. Is tell me what excites you about teaching this course, about this convergence between blockchain and AI, or about like we were talking about AI, blockchain, or both.
Yes, yes, of course. I mean, I'm extremely excited about this course, and that is because I've had my own journey. When I got into the blockchain space and when I got into the AI space. So when I first started working with the AI and blockchain, I was amazed by their potential, but at the same time, I quickly realized that many people misunderstood them, right? So AI was mostly and often seen as an intelligent system that's going to replace humans. Blockchain, on the other hand, was mostly linked to cryptocurrency. So I saw a lot of confusion about how these technologies actually worked and how they could be used beyond the hype. So, what excites me most is the real world impact. So, blockchain provides security and transparency, while AI brings intelligence and automation. And together, I think they're transforming many, many different industries.
Mhm.
So, through this course, I want to inspire the students by showing them how AI and blockchain are shaping the world today and what's really coming next. Teaching these technologies and sharing my own experiences, my own journey, and actually helping students explore their own potential, explore their own career path, I think is what makes this journey super exciting for me.
Oh, awesome. And I will say, y'all, I know y'all are probably thinking about where can I find this course. We're going to make sure we put it in the show notes so you'll see it in the description below on how you can get connected and stay tuned for updates. We will also update you here on the blog. So, Professor Patel, tell us any final thoughts, and how can we connect with you? How can we stay connected with you and some of the other things you're doing, because you're doing some amazing things in this space?
Yeah, 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 of course. I would say I'm more than happy to connect with anyone who wants to, get into any of this technology or both of these technologies. I can share my own experience, and I think using that, I will make sure, their journey is kind of easier than mine. That being said, I mean, feel free to reach out to me on LinkedIn. I would be more than happy to, jump on a call and then provide more information about how you can get started, with both of these technologies.
Ah, awesome. Y'all make sure y'all connect to that. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you
Thank you.
for giving us a little information, enough information to send us off to do more research and stay connected with you. We look forward to the course and what it's going to bring and offer to us and those who decide to click the box and take it. Thank you so much for your time and for what you're doing. I mean, I think it's amazing. Education is important to me. So anytime someone takes time to educate people and really educate in a way where it scaffolds the learning so people can really get it and then decide how it's relevant to them. So thank you so much for being here. Thank you for joining us on the block. And we look forward to future conversations, especially once the course is launched. You have to come back
Absolutely.
and give us an
Absolutely.
update and say, well, this is what I said, but this is what's happening. And we
Absolutely.
can talk about that too.
Yeah, that sounds great, and thank you so much, Dr. Tammy, for giving me chance to help you, using this channel, educate students and educate the audience. So it was such a pleasure being on this session.
Thank you so much. Talk to you soon. Thank you all for joining us on another episode on the block. On the block, we talk about all things blockchain, and we invite you to follow us and stay tuned for more episodes. Also, make sure that you are connected with us and follow us on social media. We have LinkedIn, we have a Facebook page. So make sure you're following ICORBP on all these channels because you can get updates on some of the things that we'll be doing. We'll be rolling out some things as well coming in the future around certifications and making sure that you have access to courses like Professor Patel's course. Thank you all for joining us. We appreciate you being here. On behalf of Doc Vince and myself, Dr. Tammy, we look forward to you joining us in the future on another episode of The Block.
This blockchain continuing education program is brought to you by our major sponsors: HTML Coin, Utility Coin Beyond the Hype; ALTHSH University, your online school in the fourth industrial revolution; Libra Codes, take control on your NFT creation; and Credence Hub, verified credentials, anytime, anywhere. We also would like to thank our partners: